Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Crate Expectations. I'm here with my co-host, Lifter Unit, Grumpface Sarah. How are you today, Sarah?
Apparently, I'm grumpy.
Why would you be grumpy?
I don't know. Everything is working perfectly in game.
Yeah, I wonder. I wonder if they think it is actually. If they feel annoyed that their little gambit failed or something.
Do you think it was like an intentional thing?
I think that they wanted to make the bosses harder
Mm-hmm.
in Conquest. I think I like the verbiage on it, some of the bosses. It's so annoying. It's like they can't have any detrimental effects at all.
Right.
And to me, that just screams that they're trying to make them harder, like more difficult.
Right. Because a lot of us are using debuffs to chew our way through, especially when you have like the volatile accelerator amplify agony build as the disc combo.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess I could understand why they would want to make the bosses a little harder, but they didn't communicate that, number one. Like, they were just like, hey, let's just add these random things. And
Mm-hmm.
then they overtuned them like crazy.
Right. I mean, casual 38 million damage, no big deal.
I have to admit, I was projecting. I'm the one who's grumpy. I'm like, I'm pretty mad about it, to be honest.
I I was I don't want to say like neutral. I wasn't neutral about it. I was annoyed by it on when it happened, like on the Monday when Conquest launched. And then I was like, okay, they're gonna fix it because they said they were gonna fix it. And then I went back in and I was like, this doesn't feel right. Like, still feels kind of wrong. Like, still feels off. I don't know about this kind of thing. And then today when I woke up and I was in there and I was banging my head and then I legitimately got stuck and I got mad. And I was like, I should not be stuck in sector 2.
No, you shouldn't be stuck in Sector 2. Not with. You have all the GLs, you have all the stuff.
Yeah, I was like, like this doesn't make any sense. So then I got mad. And I was like to the point that I was just like, why? I first of all immediately regretted the fact that I always buy the pass right away. Like it's the first thing I do in Conquest. I go into Conquest, I do a couple battles, I buy the pass, and like carry on. So I bought the pass before I had gotten to the mini boss in Sector 1. Immediately regretted that, and then uh, I was just like, why? Like it really just made me question my sanity. I was like, why am I banging my head against this game that is so obvious that they didn't even try the new bosses at all?
Right. Well, it just seems so obvious that they're trying to like they wanted to make it tough, and I think that they're annoyed that well because they fixed it the first time. We're like, hey, this is too hard. They're like, okay, we'll fix it, and then they like made it a little easier, but they didn't make it that much easier. I think someone was messing around. They wanted to make it really tough.
Well, and like that was the thing because I went in and when they fixed it, I had already gotten past, sorry, fixed it. I had already gotten past the mini boss in sector 1 and I went and did and I had already beaten the boss in sector 1 as well. And then I went back and did the boss in sector 1 again because I needed to get all of the feats done so that I could record my video. And I went back and I did the boss first, the Rancor, and I was like, okay, this is right, loosely right, but I'm like, I'm able to remove churn meter now. Like before, I couldn't remove any churn meter. It was just an absolute gong show. And then you're welcome. And then I went
Hashtag
to
Canada.
I went to the mini boss, and I was like, this definitely does not feel easier. And then everyone was still complaining about Sector 2 as well. And I'm like, I don't even want to think about Sector 2. which
Yeah.
clearly was even worse.
Yeah, it's just really frustrating. Like my little account, Prevail Man, I spent 3 full refreshes before I finally got the right RNG to beat the Sector 1 mini boss.
Ugh.
Like, it's just, it's so after that, like, I finished it, and then I didn't even go through any more nodes. I was just, I'm discouraged and done.
To
Goodbye.
get halfway through Sector 1.
For 3 refreshes, well, plus I started with 400 energy on that account too.
I was just going to say I had 436 energy banked and I was pumped because I was like, that is enough to get through Sector 1 entirely. I will be starting Sector 2 before I even have to refresh. And I should be done Sector 2 by Monday night. And I wanted to be so far ahead because I have a busy week this week that I was like, I need to be on top of it. And I ran out of my 436 energy on like the third node after the mini boss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I ran out of energy on that account, on my main account too. Like there was just so much RNG ridiculousness, and it kills me because like for me, for my, I think the thing that kills me the most. So that they messed around, whether or not it was intentional or not. Like I just, it makes me mad because they're like, "Hey, we're gonna make good." Like, are they gonna make good on like my whole strategy? A lot of times is going to be to rush to get through Sector 4 on my
Yeah.
main account. Like, just really go as hard as I can. Like, don't like stop and like get feats or anything. Just crash my way through to get to Sector 4, to the end of Sector 4, and then I can spend like I can do all the missions on the what's it called, node, the
The
treasure node.
Datacron. Yeah.
Yeah, so that I can get a bunch of Datacron stuff, so I can the materials, so I can spend all of my excess data cache
Yep.
before all of my crons dust for a ton more. And now I finally got there today, and I've been able to get like just a couple refreshes on that node, and that's it.
Right. Right.
So it's just wasted. It's going to be millions of data cache just down the tube.
Yeah. I think what they should have done once they realized they had to do another fix for it, which I think they knew that that was going to be the case Monday night. Like as of Monday, Meathead had posted in the events server, which again, love the communication that it exists just in general, but I think it would have been nice to have this posted in even as a reply to the forum post originally saying that they were investigating um like the bosses in Conquest. He had posted saying that the team was going to look at more data in the morning on Tuesday morning. So I saw that post, so I knew that obviously they were going to look at it. They were still evaluating, but they clearly knew that there was something still wrong. Um, but if you didn't see that and you were only relying on the forums, then all you knew was that the hotfix had been pushed and you're sitting there now going like, okay, it's fixed apparently, but it's still ridiculously overtuned.
Yeah, I'm fairly convinced that they were trying to do something. I think they're getting their hands slapped. Whether to what degree is another
Yeah.
question, but I think that they were trying to mess around, and or they just didn't test. But how the hell do they get that into the game? Like, how do they get that nonsense? Like, it seems like they couldn't have tested even an ounce
No,
to be able to get
there
there.
was zero
So
testing.
so either they were messing around to the point of like they're trying to make it so that it's hard enough that we have to spend a bunch of money somehow. I don't know. Like frustration mechanics have existed for a while with this game, but
Hmm.
I don't even know how you spend money to get to the point that you can beat some of these nodes.
Well,
Except you just blow all your resources on refreshes, I guess.
so I'm actually curious about this because like were you like I was frustrated and I get the pushing the player to frustration point that they just want to spend to kind of like get it done. I totally get that tactic. This was a frustration level that and I th like CG knows how to do that. They know how to incentivize us to spend. And like they've already done it with Conquest. They've done it with the pass being added. They've done it with revamping the pass. So now the Omicrons are at the front. Like they've done these things. This feels like it was just so overdone that for me personally, I literally this morning was like, do I just quit the game now? Like, is that it? Because this isn't fun. This is my
Right.
favorite game mode, and it's not fun now because of this ridiculous whatever this was that they were trying to do, whether it was intentional or not. And if it was intentional, first of all, shame on you. And if it was not intentional, then can you at least test the bosses? Because one go at them and you'd be like, oh, this definitely isn't working right. Like,
Right. Well, I was ready to just pull the plug. Honestly, I mean, I told you I was like, just
mhm.
just stop doing it on Professor X. We're just done. Unless they
I
fix it, I'm done.
I told I was in the officer chat today and I was like, I'm not unlocking them. FYI, I'm stuck in sector 2. I fully was stuck behind Jabba earlier. I spent so much energy on Jabba trying to get through. And this is the crazy thing is I was doing exactly what other people were doing and having success with on Jabba. And I just couldn't make it work because I didn't have the same discs as them.
Yeah, because who knew? Like they didn't communicate it to us beforehand. Sector 2 isn't early enough. Like I know that last time on my Prevail Man account, I hadn't even. I looked like I got just crap, just total
Yeah,
garbage on data disks all the way until Sector 4. Like I would have I had nothing. Basically, it was just going through with I think I had like Blindside, and that was
right.
it, you know. And the rest was were just like, yeah, I guess I have a little extra like bonus protection, yay, you know, like
I
some
ha-
more evasion, woo.
I had on my account and on Professor X, by the time I hit the mini boss in Sector 1, I had a gray volatile accelerator and a voluntary vanguard. And that was it. And I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with these. Like they don't do anything yet.
They're like V words for their data disks, don't
They
they?
do. And then like by the time I got to Java, everyone was showing me all these like disc combos that was working and the teams that were working. And I'm like, I would pick the discs that you're showing me if I hadn't been shown three vitality and a honed skills and a potency calibration and like all this trash that I didn't want. So I took, you know, this green caustic emissions instead, which also isn't really doing much for me right
Yeah,
now.
it's not doing it for you.
It's not doing it for me at the moment.
So you know how I know you love Conquest?
What?
So you were just able to pull out the names of a bunch of data disks that were crap that like I just remember their effects, you know. I'm like, "Oh yeah, that one has something to do with like sometimes you get some extra protection or something." You're like honed skills and potency calibration.
Like,
You just like and you just pull it
uh,
off the top of your head. I'm like, "Yeah, the bad ones."
oh, and like if
It's
you're gonna
fun.
make it hard, at least make it scale through the sectors so that by the time we get to the ridiculously hard boss in sector 4 and 5, we've had enough time to get some data disks instead of just hitting a wall at the mini boss in sector 1 and Us being like, I only have 2 discs. Like, what am I supposed to do here?
I don't know.
Just stare at the pig, I guess.
Stare at the pig.
Yeah,
What pig?
the mini boss pig. Pigs.
Oh, those pigs. Yeah, you're right. You're right. My sons call them piggy guards, actually. So,
Stare at the piggy guards. Oh
hmm
man. Yeah, it was something. It is something because it's currently still broken.
yeah, yeah. And okay, so here let's twist this just a little bit. All right.
All right.
So, real frustrating. I agree. Just the most frustrating. However,
Hmm.
what if CG had said, hey guys, we're introducing a new ultra hard mode or a legendary mode, whatever you want to call it. Like it's a new difficulty level.
Right.
And you get some cool thing that is potentially worth your while for it. Like
Hmm.
I I don't know, like would you sign up for this knowing that this is I mean it's hard to say because you don't know what the rewards are going to be. I don't even know what
Right.
it would be that would but you get upon red crating this, you
Hmm.
get like 20 Omicron materials. You get a full Omicron
So,
to apply.
and like knowing that it would be this extent of broken of how it is now.
Yeah,
No.
you still wouldn't do it.
Nope.
But if you signed up for it, knowing that it was going to be something ridiculous like this, maybe you don't know the exact details. Like at least then you would go into it knowingly. Like you're like, well, I signed up for it. I can't really complain
Sure.
that much, right?
Sure. I think,
Which I'm not saying people deserved this nonsense. To be clear,
right.
I'm just wondering.
If they had been like upfront about it, if it was
Yeah,
intentional, if it would have been and like actually just gave it its own division.
yeah,
Um, so I'm torn on it because obviously if you're upfront about it, it's a little bit of an easier pill to swallow. But the thing today, I was so mad and I was so frustrated by it that I didn't want to play the game. I didn't want to be on my phone. I was getting so angry that I was just like, this is like an irrational reaction. Like I just couldn't like I couldn't differentiate anything in my day from this because it was just so irritating to me that I was like, I can't play. I didn't even like read their forum updates because I was like, this is a absolute joke right now, and it is having such a negative effect on me and on how my whole day is going that if I were to get that frustrated willingly, I wouldn't want that. And like that level of frustration, my time and my energy spent is not worth that to me.
right. Well, and I'm right there with you, honestly, Sarah. That I think people also should realize who are listening to this, like it's not just that we're letting like the game affect us and like we need to chill out or something. There's also the added component of being content creators for things involving this, and so. Like for me, it's not about. I'm not gonna be making a guide on how to beat these conquest specific nodes or whatever.
Hmm.
But for me, it's like if I don't have datacrons, then
Right.
I that if I can't play with that and interact with datacrons, then what's the point? Like I need those for what I do for my content and stuff.
Right.
And for you, you're trying to make videos and stuff, and so you are you're trying to show people how to beat this, and it's just total nonsense.
And like not
There's a
only
lot of pressure involved.
not only am I trying, and this is something that I think a lot of people, I think most people have realized this, and some people don't realize this, is I try really hard to beat it without using a galactic legend. I try really hard to make it approachable for people for smaller rosters. And because I get this all the time, people are like, oh, well, why didn't you just use your Lord Vader? I'm like, because not everyone has Lord Vader, which is why,
Yeah.
like,
Hmm.
if I'm gonna use a Galactic Legend, I really try to make it either only the Galactic Legend that absolutely has to be used because they're required for a feat, or Jedi Master Luke. That's like my little asterisk on it. But I was I put out my Sector 1 video and I was like apologizing in it. I'm like, I'm sorry, I had to use Rey and Kenobi, and like it was just such a gong show that that's how it was. And then I got to Sector 2 today and I was getting ready to make my video before I did finally get past Jabba after spending like 300 energy on him. Um and I was ready to just make my Sector 2 video and be like, sorry, like I don't have the boss beat because I'm stuck here. This is where my account dies. And I guess I can't do sectors 3, 4, and 5.
Just do a really fast video. You're like, all right, guys, this is what CG tells us for about Sector 2. And then just.
It was just, and okay, so I realize how entitled and whiny I sound.
Yep.
Um,
Me too.
and I'm trying not to sound entitled and whiny, but when you get
I
used
don't think you are
to
being entitled and whiny
Well,
this time.
when you get used to it being like a certain way, right? And I have no problem with changes when they're explained up front. Um, but the other thing, like, and I was reiterating this to one of our guildmates, and I was like, hard mode conquest starts at 4 million GP. Like that is the gate for it. And
Hmm.
you need to complete normal mode and then 4 million GP. Um, I could understand if you're at 4 million GP on the dot and you're struggling. I I'm not saying that to be like mean and be like, "Oh, you should get red crate at 4." Like I could legitimately understand if you're struggling at 4 million GP. I could understand if you're struggling at 5 million GP. Um
6 million is where your sympathy
yeah,
wears
then I'm like,
off.
"Come on, pull your socks up." No. Um
Pull your socks, what?
pull your socks up. You've never heard that phrase? Pull your socks up.
No, I feel like
Canadian thing.
that's not a, that's not advice that I've ever needed. So I think people know they'd get punched if they told me that. But
It's like put your big boy pants on, like pull your socks up,
interesting.
get to
Yeah,
work.
it's a Canada thing for sure.
Anyway, um, but like I could understand that. I personally, in my opinion, don't think a account that is 10.7, 10.8 million GP
No,
with all of the Galactic Legends except for Leia should be struggling in sectors 1 and 2.
I
I just
agree. I
it just
totally agree.
I'm again, if they made like a nightmare mode, as some people were lovingly referring to this, and they made it extra hard, and the barrier for that was 8 million GP, let's say, then yeah, I could be like, okay, like this is actually legitimately ridiculously hard, and I can see why I'm struggling. But that's not the case.
Not the case. Um, Yeah, so I want to point this other thing out too. There's this really crazy incongruity involved in the sense that CG recently made the change for Datacron's accessibility. So instead of
Hmm.
requiring the 357 relic levels to be able to access the various Datacron stages,
Right?
instead they introduced the 135. So as long as you have relics, you can access them to some degree,
Yeah.
at least. And yet, so that they're like, hey, they're more accessible, but actually, screw you guys, because you can't get to the nodes to farm them.
Right. Well, and this is the other thing. And again, they don't have to, I mean, they never told us this in the past when they changed the bonus nodes, but came out, the bonus nodes are the same. So we're all like, great, cool. They're the same as last time. So we're all going off of the plan that the Bad Batch node in Sector 1 is still slow and we can farm those feats on it and it's going to be fine. And then you get there and you realize that Echo is actually like 350 speed.
Yeah.
Feels bad. Especially when you consider the fact that if you did get a Bad Batch node along the path in Sector 1, they would be considerably slower than the Datacron node, and you could farm the feats off of that.
Did you almost just say snower?
Yes.
That sounds like a Canadian thing as well.
Winter is coming.
Second, pre-winter is here. Yeah.
It's actually second summer right now, but
It got weird. So, so, all right. Speaking of Gong Show, I was pretty excited to see. Well, I was like kind of dead inside, but like the part of me that wasn't quite dead yet,
okay.
was excited that we got the new Bad Batch ship, the new shuttle,
Yeah.
and one of the abilities is called Gonki.
Oh,
So
is it?
yeah, it's a little bit like Gong Show. It makes me gongi.
Donkey? Gong is Gong.
I know. It's
Okay, just making sure.
Hey, this is cool. You can spell at least. That's good.
Oh man. Yeah,
Uh,
so I didn't even look at that kit reveal. I was like, okay, whatever. And I guess Endurance is getting a rework.
yeah, yeah. I'm excited, but by a little bit, kind of like once CG said, "Hey, we're gonna send you a make good, and we're gonna fix things." I'm like, I mean, I don't feel like they're going to be able to, like, just how are they going to replace millions of data cache?
Right.
How are they going to replace my stress levels? Whatever. Like, it's not their responsibility to keep me from being all stressed out by this sort of thing. But um, even so, I mean, the fact that they acknowledged that there are issues and they did apologize. I'm like, well, you're just gonna mess up again. Like, I don't have much faith in them, but I do.
Right.
It's opened me up to maybe feeling a little more excited for for this rework because I've said it forever that they should release the Bad Batch shuttle. I want the Bad Batch shuttle, and it should be part of like them bringing the endurance back into play, like
Hmm.
back into being good.
Yeah.
And my main account has a Relic 9 mace, so I'm ahead of the arms race there.
Oh
So
man. Do you think a Relic 9 mace will be necessary?
I sure hope not.
uh um so this is a chase for Marauder, correct? Do we know what day it's happening or what energy it's on? I don't think anyone's actually said that.
I don't know. I'm actually fairly sad because I think I'll have to spend all of my Professor X crystals on it.
Oh,
And
really?
and then I'll have to delay getting what's it called? Uh Leviathan to 6 stars yet again.
Hmm. Hmm. I don't know if I want to spend my crystals on the chase or not because my crystals are currently like earmarked for the Leia marquee
You're
tunes.
marqueed.
They're earmarked. Yeah.
Cool. All right, we gotta do a trigger photo now. And then we'll go talk about other random crap on your side of
Perfect.
things.
More random crap to come.
Yeah, Sarah's channel with more random crap.
Double the Gong Show.
Yeah, I like that. Hold on a sec. All right, I found the trigger photos.
All right.
So this,
Photos.
yeah, so this brought me a little bit of joy. I won't lie. So one of the people, one of our viewers, had this mismatch where their opponent just doesn't use ships. Like they don't have fleets. They have like a really good roster otherwise, but they just don't engage in fleets. And so there's this mismatch where the guy has all three of the Galactic Legend level ships, and his opponent has zero of them. It's just zero engagement. The guy doesn't even attack ships ever. As you know, somehow you run into these matchups. I don't even know if I would have even noticed it, frankly, going into it because you have to scout. But um, you see this mismatch, and so he brought it. He brought it to our attention in the on the Discord server, and and he was like, "I think the answer has to be I just deploy." Uh, I just deploy ships, right? Like I just and so he instead of he didn't even deploy all of the fleets. He just deployed two of them, two meta fleets,
I
and that's
missed
it.
that. So he just like was like, here you go.
Yeah, and so his opponent, he wasn't able to full clear. Like his opponent got max banners, like hard max banners.
Mhm.
For every team, it's in 5v5, so we got 69 for every single squad. Just automatically, the guy wasn't able to attack at all, in fact, and so and the hilarious thing was, I remember he made a comment. He's like, the fun thing about GAC when you get it, like it's fun to play anyways, but it's even more fun when you have your entire roster available for offense.
It would be way more fun like that.
Yeah, you should try this sometime, Sarah.
Ah, but then I'd have to do ships.
You're right. So I take it back.
Have you
All
met
right.
me?
Have you met Ted? All right. Let's let's get over to Sarah's channel, guys. Hit the like button, subscribe, all that stuff here over on her channel as well. And found in the link is found in the video description, or it should be found underneath us, probably even as I'm speaking. So we'll see you over there,
Mhm.
I suppose.